You're listening to The Rough Draft, a not-so-average personal development podcast for purpose-driven women ready to rewrite their story. It's a show about evolution, changing narratives, and rewriting our life's rough drafts. I interview some of the world's top female leaders in business, energetics, love, relationships, money, and personal power about their humble beginnings and shifts that got them here. I'm your host, Sabrina Greer, writer, speaker, book publisher, serial entrepreneur, and mentor to women in life and business. Let's rewrite. Hello, and welcome back to the Rough Draft podcast. I am so excited for my guest today and the book that is coming out. It's so very exciting. I have Dana Shalit with me, who is an award-winning impact consultant, philanthropist, and entrepreneur. Over a career spanning international sales, leadership, training on global stages, and 20 years at the forefront of the charitable sector, she has become a trusted voice on purpose, impact, and what it means to live a life that matters. A lifelong student of personal development, Dana is also a certified clinical hypnotherapist, see if I can even say that, and host of international retreats guiding people in moving beyond limiting beliefs and reconnecting to who they truly are. Now based in Costa Rica, Dana believes that impact begins from within and that living in alignment with your true self is the most powerful contribution you can make to the world. Oh, Dana, I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much. So good to be here with you. I love talking to you.
Oh, I feel like we could talk like literally forever. And I mean, so often we do. So a little bit about our story. Dana and I met, 15 years ago now, I think, which is insane. And, hit it off immediately. We worked together at a global wellness company, and we've sort of been circling each other's atmospheres ever since then, right? You're my impact consultant for the charity. I'm your publisher, and friends for life. I'm certain of that as well. And I know that there's a future in retreats and other things that will come about. So I'm just so excited to finally be here. It feels like it's been a long time, but at the same time, it's like you blink and here we are. So
Totally. What a crazy journey to publishing a book. I have so much respect for what you do because I'm just one of your many authors, and it's there's a lot of emotions that go into the whole process.
There is. And I think that is underrepresented in the industry. People receive a book deal and they think that that's it. Then it's all done for you. It just somehow magically appears. And we don't talk enough about the emotional load that comes along with it. So I'm very happy that I've found this title of book doula because I think it's so relevant, and because the process is very similar. You are birthing a new entity into the world, which is your book baby. And that is not to be taken lightly. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that can be done with AI. It's not something that, So I am very excited for this book. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your book and a little bit about you, not the bio version that I just read, but the real you and how you sort of came into this work.
Sure. So the book, which is coming out August 18th, is called Pathways to Self. And it's the path to purpose through the 9 steps of self-realization. And, if anyone who knows me, you would know that I am a very multi-passionate entrepreneur. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. I've been involved in their businesses my whole life. I've started multiple of my own businesses. I've run a charity for the last almost 2 decades. And like you mentioned, I also consult and help other people who want to have their own charities and foundations. I support them in birthing those and bringing them into the world. But I am obsessed with personal development. And it's really where my whole journey began, was sort of like this spark of self-awareness. I think we all remember that first kind of spark where we were someone beforehand and then something happened, whether it be an awareness that took place, or whether something actually happens in our life that has us take a look at things differently. And when that happened for me, I was a very over-functioning event producer in downtown Toronto. I know you relate, Sabrina. And I was suffering from panic attacks and anxiety. And I was doing the thing I always thought I was supposed to be doing, but I knew there had to be something else for me out there. And I went to a friend of mine who was a psychotherapist, and she said something that completely blew my mind and really started me on this journey. She asked me if I'd be open to receiving a past life regression. And I had no idea what she was talking about. I was completely not woo woo or spiritual, but I was a yes person. And that was almost 20 years ago. And it opened my mind and it had me connect to my subconscious in a way I could have never anticipated. And that's very much where my book begins.
So exciting. And I had the absolute privilege and honor of sitting and reading along through the recording of your audiobook. And let me tell you, I read the book, I read the manuscript, and then I read it in book form. I think I've read it like 5 times now, but there's nothing quite as powerful as experiencing the author read their book to you. And that's why I'm so excited that the audiobook will be available for everyone, that it's your voice, it's not AI, it's actually read by you, narrated by you. So written, read, narrated by you, which is so awesome. And it's just such a magical journey. Like, you really take us into the story, your story, but it also feels almost like fiction because of the characters and the journey and the experiences. And I love how you take that level of storytelling and put it into a personal development book, because it is both. I really believe that it's part memoir, part personal development book. There's a lot of action items for the reader that you can do your own and have your own journey with this body of work. So tell us a little bit about the work itself, for anyone who maybe has no idea what past life regression is, or thinks it sounds insane, or okay, maybe I should just tune out right now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's wild because I'm actually quite, especially at that time in my life, I would have considered myself a very logical person. So I get it. And honestly, I think I said this to you early on when I was writing the book. I really wish it's not what my book was about. Like, it's not what I wanted it to be about, but it's what it had to be about. So my hope is that it sort of bridges that spiritual, logical brain for most. So okay, so the way I can explain what it is, it's essentially a form of hypnotherapy. And hypnotherapy is also a scary word for a lot of people. But if you look at what it actually is, it's the process of doing therapy while in a calm state of the nervous system. So hypnotherapists will take their clients, their patients, into a brainwave, the theta brainwave, which is right before you fall asleep. So again, you're there, it's not like you're out of control, you're just very calm. And when you enter that brainwave, you have access to the 90% of the subconscious mind, which is responsible for your limiting beliefs, and it stores absolutely everything. Now, our subconscious, again, it's like that 90% under the surface, only 10% is the conscious. And so in a hypnotherapy session, you would actually review memories, experiences from this life that are at the core and the root of what you want to address. In past life regression therapy, you do that, but you allow your mind to wander even further, to make up, if you will, because I can't prove it necessarily, but to make up an entire experience of a character with a life, with inflection points, with maybe a death scene, almost like a full movie transpiring in your mind. And the therapist will just support you like they do in hypnotherapy and ask you, what are you seeing, hearing, experiencing? What are you feeling? And you're fully speaking and you're sharing what is going on in your mind. It's truly like a movie unfolding in your mind. So when I have worked with clients before, I give them full permission to make it up. So like, be the most creative Spielberg you have ever been and just go ahead and make it up. And whatever comes up, it's still your mind's way of communicating with you. So again, 20 years ago, this was super outside of my scope. I went into a session, had this full movie play out, had a completely mind altering experience. And I couldn't prove it, but I knew it had an impact on me.
I love that. And I actually haven't heard that interpretation before. And I think that's really cool because I work with a lot of creative,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the main things that comes up when we begin working together is I'm not creative. That limiting belief that I'm not a creative person. Maybe I need to hire a ghostwriter. Maybe I need to get support with this because I'm not a creative person. And just that permission to go into your mind and connect it to something meaningful, I think is really, really amazing. So I love the work that
Yeah,
you do.
and we don't have to prove it to have it be impactful. That's the thing. If the mind wants to come up with a spiritual lesson of forgiveness and connect you to all encompassing light and source, and have you recognize soul contracts, and it's all happening on your mind, then I am here for it. And if those stories can support other people in learning those truths, then that is my honor to bring it forward and to share that. Like I said, I didn't want to write about it, and it's what came out, and it was what was meant to be. And yeah, and I hope it makes a difference for some.
Yeah. I'm so
Yeah.
glad you did
Thank
because
you.
it already has made an impact on me. It's already
Aw,
made an impact on your advanced readers. And I know it's going to make a huge impact on everyone who gets this book in their hands.
thank you.
So,
Thank you.
in the book, you talk about 9 steps of self realization, right? That's what it's called. So,
Mhm.
can you share a little deeper about? I don't want to give it all away, but maybe just go into a couple of the steps and just share, just so the readers can get, or our listeners can get a taste of what to expect when they go
Totally.
immediately to Audible and download the book right now.
Exactly. It also, for me, that first step is self-awareness. So I already started touching about it, where I described that first experience of me going into the subconscious mind. And for everybody who's reading, I'm assuming if you found your way into the personal development world, that spark has potentially already happened on some level or another. And so just, giving so much honor to that first experience where, we realize we are not our thoughts. We are the witnesser of those thoughts. We are the one on the seat of the soul. So that's, chapter 1 is self-awareness. And then it really takes, the reader through the arc of my journey. And my journey went from self-awareness to self-trust. And Sabrina, I'm with you. I'm preaching to the choir, but truly the ability to pay attention to the breadcrumbs, to the synchronicities, to develop integrity with ourselves so that we can trust ourselves, so that we know ourselves as someone who does the thing we said we were going to do again and again and again. And so that journey of self-trust was really the next step after self-awareness for me. So I keep going through the chapters, yeah, because I'm okay to share what the reader will notice in each chapter is I do speak about either a subconscious deep dive or some kind of self-development experience I had, and from self-trust that took me into self-discipline, which I think is an extension of self-trust. And this is something that you and I, when we were working together, we used to speak about a lot, right? Because it's and when I was a sales ambassador, when I coached, sales leaders, the little things that are sometimes as easy not to do are the things that are the most necessary to do, not constantly, but consistently. And so when I talk about self-discipline over all of the different businesses I've started over the years, self-discipline is the act of not the sprint, but the marathon. And what I learned how to be disciplined with myself, whether it be my health or my meditating or my giving to myself or regulating my nervous system or spending time in nature or my morning routines or my evening routines, all of those things were as easy not to do as they were to do. And so self-trust was the building block to developing unshakable and unbreakable self-discipline, which has helped me in every area of my life and definitely when it comes to my purpose.
Yes. I love that. It's so true. And I think the self trust part is huge because there's a lot of noise in the world, especially on the internet, right? Where it's like,
Mhm.
and I'm experiencing this right now in my physical health. It's like, take this whole perimenopause thing. It's like, do this, take this, be this, have this. Like, this is the way. No, this is the way. And what are you supposed to do with yourself when there's all of this noise? And that's when you need to check in. because it's not a one size fits all. Nothing is. There's no one size fits all to writing a book. There's no one size fits all to personal health. There's no one size fits all to mental health. There's no, like, there just isn't. We're all unique individuals with our own blueprint and our own magic and our own medicine. And I think it's really important to that self-trust piece is everything, because the second I started leaning into that and learning how to trust myself with decisions, with choices, tap into my intuition, that's when the game changed for me. And I often say I have no regrets, but I do wish I had tapped into it earlier, right? I'm in my 40s now, and I truly believe it only began for me a couple of years ago. It would have been nice for this to start in my 30s, but now we, as authors, as influencers, as people who are bringing our body of work forward into the world, I think we're giving that permission slip to the next generation to be like, hey, you can go there a little sooner with these tools and these strategies, so go for it. And thumbs up. And that's why I think self-trust is probably arguably the most important piece of the
plan. Yeah, and it's without self-abandonment. I think specifically as women, we've been taught to self-abandon more than we have been to self-trust. And it actually, like, perfect segue, it brings, which is the fourth chapter, which is selfishness. Like I've been literally taught that putting ourselves last is some kind of glorified kind of status to reach. And the more you give, the more valuable you are. And the more you self-abandon, the more selfless you are. And I really had to reclaim selfishness, because for me, that was very much a path towards burnout, which I did, by the way. I burnt out so hard. If any other burnouters out there, I see you, I get you. And on the other side, I had to say, hey, I have to put my own oxygen mask on first. But that came from self-trust. It actually came from having the building block of self-trust and then moving into discipline and noticing how everybody else came before my own personal discipline. And I actually had a friend say to me when I was starting to give to myself and put myself first, she actually said to me, God, you're so selfish. And it was, we're not friends anymore, obviously, but it was such a aha moment for me when she said that. It's that famous phrase, the only people who have issues with your boundaries are the ones you need them with in the first place, right? And I really had to learn. I had to learn that it's okay to be selfish. Actually, if someone called me selfish now, I'd be like, thank you. I've been working so hard at that. Like, it's been a years long process of being like, I'm actually going to fill my own cup first and give from my overflow, because there's nothing noble about putting yourself last. Yeah. So self-trust, self-discipline, selfishness. Let's go. I'm here for it. And it also set me up for when...
I think it's a Dr. Seuss quote that's like, those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. I love that quote.
Exactly. I love that. I'll have to store it in here. I love my posts. And honestly, it really set me up for when shit actually hit the fan, which it did and it does, because life be lifing. And after the burnout, I did enter a part of my life where some would call it like the dark night of the soul, where I lost a lot of people really close to me in a short period of time, where my business changed, or my friendship groups changed. And it's like my identity was shaken to the core. And without having that knowledge of how to give to myself, whether it be just a little bit every day, like a small little sip of air, whether it just be a little bit, it set me up to be able to navigate one of the hardest moments of my life. So, they say you can only connect the dots looking backwards. You can't connect them looking forward. So for me, these 9 steps of returning to self are very much in hindsight, being like, oh, wow, this is the journey I walked. And this is what I could have done, like you said, to accelerate that process. And hopefully it supports others in accelerating their own processes as they navigate these crazy lives we live.
So what's the last step, if you can share?
Yeah, so from selfishness, I moved to self-compassion, from there to self-expression, from self-expression to self-love, and from self-love to self-confidence. Because there is no step, I think, more important when it comes to finding our purpose and connecting to our purpose than self-confidence, but an authentic self-confidence based in authentic expression, based in self-trust, based in knowing that you are doing the thing, and to that self-discipline that's based in self-compassion and self-forgiveness, if you will, and an unshakable self-love of not because of my roles or identities or what I do for other people, but because I'm a pure extension of love. That is the truth of who I am. Since I was a baby, I was love, and you are love, and we're all these extensions of love. And we just almost have to remember that we are that spark of love. And that gives unshakable self-confidence to really come and do what we came here to do, which we all, I believe, have our unique blueprint for, and our unique purpose, and our, the thing we're here to do and learn in this sometimes uncomfortable earth school. And yeah, self-confidence is the last step before what I call self-realization, which is I am that I am. This is what I'm here to do.
I'm so excited for everyone to get their hands on this book, because
Thank you.
that it sounds almost like a rigid framework when you just sort of rhyme them off like that, but it's not at all. It's really, you have tools for embodying each practice. You have like prompts for people to do the work themselves and customize it to them. You are an incredible storyteller, and you really take us into these past lives and your own journey in the 3D in this lifetime. And like, there's just so much gold. It's such a good book, such a good book. So
Thank you.
To close it out and bring it home, what would you tell the reader or the listener in this case? Like, what's one piece of advice you would leave if you could? I know there's so many gold nuggets, and obviously they'll receive so much from the book, but if you were somebody's maybe questioning or feeling stuck, or they're just getting started in this work, or like, what would you leave if you could only choose one?
Gosh, I would say that I wrote this book I would say like a love letter to myself, and hopefully a love letter to everybody else who gets to read it. I'm a romantic at heart. And I would say what my hope is that by reading it, you see yourself in the stories. And from the few that have read it, that's sort of been the feedback is, gosh, when I'm talking about grief, we understand our own grief. When we talk about being self-conscious, I think that's something we can all relate to. When we feel like we're not enough or unworthy, unlovable, or like we don't belong, these are all universal truths for every single one of us to a certain extent. And so my hope is that by seeing me, you also get a bit, a better glimpse of, the reader gets a better glimpse of themselves, and that creates a deeper sense of connection, because that's why I wrote it, because one of my deepest values is to connect deeply with other people. And so I hope this book is the thread where we all feel a little bit more of the same versus different.
So good. And what's next? Where can our readers or listeners find you, track you down? Where's the best place? Obviously, they can just go to the show notes and buy your book. All the links will be available there. But where can they come track you down when inevitably they will want to?
So my website's the easiest way, danashalit.com, or on Instagram. I'm there a lot, LinkedIn. All my links are on my website. I think there's one other one, but you'll find me.
They'll find you.
Yeah.
And Pathways to Self, available now. You can get your copy today on Amazon, and anytime moving forward after you listen to this episode. Thank you, Dana, for being here. Honestly, like I said, I could talk to you all day long, because you're just a breath of fresh air and a well of deep wisdom. It's the perfect balance of everything. And I just love you so much. And I'm so
I love you.
grateful.
What an amazing experience to do this alongside you. So I'm so grateful as well.